Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another podcast. Don't allow emotions to control you as a man. Now, this is very important. Now, before I get too deep into it, this is not saying don't have emotions. You're still human. You can still feel emotion. There's nothing wrong with that. All I'm saying is don't allow them to control you and to control your actions and your behavior. I mean, you can still care, you can still feel something for someone or a cause or a situation. There's nothing wrong with that. That's normal. That's very normal. But a problem arises when you allow those emotions to cloud your sense of reason, your sense of strength, your sense of logic, your rational thinking. See, understand something. The very nature of man is to be a warrior. And that doesn't necessarily mean fighting, but means to defend those who are under his protection. The very nature of a man is to go out and hunt, which means to go out and provide in everything. And let's be real, a hunter, you can't be emotional about it. You're going to have to get that kill. And, literally when we lived in indigenous cultures, that meant killing that animal. In this society, that means going out there even when you don't feel like it and getting that money. Working maybe 2 or 3 jobs, working extra on that business. And also the man has to solve problems. When problems come up, we can't be like crying and being this thing. It's like we got to look at it and think, okay, how do we solve this? Even when the emotion of fear might creep in. Real courage is not a lack of fear. Real courage is having fear and yet overcoming it and doing what needs to be done. But see, there are too many men out here are allowing emotions to override the very masculine nature that they have, to override their reason. They're not looking at it. They're allowing something to really cloud their decision making. As men, we can't have that. The very nature of man, the very nature of masculine energy is to bring order to our environment, to provide a space. And sometimes you can't be emotional about it. As I said, you can have emotion and it's normal to have it. But when you allow it to control your decisions, to lead your decisions, when you make decisions based on emotion and not just the cold hard reality, that's a problem. That is a problem. Men are built for that. Men are built for that. See, women, they're built to be more emotional, but think about the woman's nature. Her nature is to carry the seed of a man and have that child and then be able to deal with that child. That requires a bit more emotion than a man would normally have. Of course, a man has care for his child and loves his child. But when it's talking about protecting that child, feeding that child, solving a problem, man can't go from emotion. He has to have that hunter instinct. He has to have that warrior instinct. He has to have that predator instinct. He got to solve problems. So he has to do it from a place where the emotions are not running him. And that's very important because one of the things I'm seeing out here, many men are doing stuff and being led along because of their emotion. They're too much in their emotions. They're in their feelings. Too many men are saying, oh, I feel this or I feel that, instead of saying, no, I know this, I know that. No matter what it is, instead of just looking at a situation and saying, okay, what am I seeing? And yeah, you could be reviled by the situation. You could be repulsed by the situation. But at the end of the day, as a man, you got to solve that situation. So you got to sit there and see what it is. And that's just a reality out here. You got to ignore pain. You got to ignore your fear. You got to rise above your emotion. But to me, men don't do that. They stay in their emotion. They want to have their feelings about stuff. It's like, no, it's proper to have it in some areas, but when it comes to solving a problem, boom, if your children are hungry, you can't be like, oh, I'm going to cry. And, maybe somebody will give me something, or it's a tough situation. You got to say, okay, I got to go ahead and get some food. I got to figure out what it takes to get food. And in this culture, that means you're going to have to go get that job. And you can't blame anybody for it. You got to do what you got to do, regardless of what it might take sometimes. Yeah, you want to do it legally, but the very nature of a man sometimes, I'll put it like this. I'm not encouraging illegal behavior, but you have to have that mindset of, I can do what I can within the boundaries of the law. But reality is, some men, they'll do whatever it takes. And in general, you have to have that attitude, within reason, of course. You don't want to do anything to mess with someone else's rights. So you got to do what you got to do. Understand that. Don't allow that. Don't allow emotions to run you. It's very important. See, that's the thing. We live in this culture now that kind of poo-poos on men being men. That's just a reality. Let's just be real with it. We live in this culture that you get people who don't want a man to stand up as a man. Well, of course, until something happens, then they say, hey, why don't you be a man about it? You didn't encourage it. You did everything you could to limit it. But you still, regardless, at your deep core, you're still a man. And that's what I would say out here. I would say to all men, when you look at any situation, you gotta take the emotion out of it. You got to keep your heart stable. You got to look at it and say, okay, this is a problem. Let me solve it. Let me solve that problem. And keep emotion in its place. As I said, it's necessary for a man to have emotion, just not to allow it to run his existence. And I want all men to really think about that. Think about everything you've done in life. Think about the times you succeeded because you stood up as a man and dealt with the situation. You weren't in your feelings, but you were like in your logical, rational, hunter, warrior mind. And you said, okay, I'm going to solve this. Think about it. Because we need that. We need that more than ever, men to stand up. All right? Don't allow emotions to control you. Do not allow that. All right? And I want y'all to not even to think about it. Not even just sit back and think, well, what's wrong? No, just go do it, okay? So anyway, that's all I have for you today. Think on what I said. Peace and blessings.